Podcast. We are back for another daily edition of Photo Q&A, where we answer one of your photography questions every single day of the week, along with the help from my high school best friend, Paul, who's going to keep me on track and ask any clarifying questions if I get too technical or anything that the beginner photographer like yourself may not understand. Sometimes I just get into my head and get going pretty crazy. So if you have any questions that you want answered about photography or anything even related to photography, feel free to ask those questions. Submit your questions. You can do so on Instagram. Just comment on any of our photos. You can leave us a comment on Facebook. That's facebook.com/beginner photography podcast. Or just shoot us an email at beginnerphotographypodcast@gmail.com. And guys, if you like this episode and you get any sort of value out of it whatsoever, I would be forever grateful if you left us a review in iTunes or whatever podcast player you are listening to us on right now. That's it. Let's go ahead and get into today's question. Paul, you ready to clap our way into this episode?
No.
We did it. Paul, we got a new question today, don't we?
Yeah, from Eddie.
Eddie, wait, from Instagram?
Yeah. Do you know Eddie from Instagram?
Yeah, I know Eddie from... You know Eddie from Instagram?
I don't.
Oh, okay. Well, he has a question?
He's got a question.
Okay, let's get into it.
So, I guess photography is mainly a hobby for him. Mm-hmm. How important is it for him to create a website if he's not running a business?
Paul, I'm going to let you answer that one. What is your first reaction? What is your gut say?
Not important at all.
It's not important at all. That's at the end. All right, guys, we will see you tomorrow. No.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, that's kind of the right answer. It really doesn't matter. The only reason why I have a website is because I'm running a business and that I want to make money. I want people to find me through my website.
Time out. Is Facebook page the same as a website?
No, Facebook page is not the same as a website.
Okay.
So you are channeling your inner Cleo over there because you knew that's where I was going with this.
I knew where you were going. I knew it was where you were going.
You knew it. Websites can be kind of expensive. Like, I'm not gonna lie, especially if it's just a hobby, right? The point of a website when it's just a hobby for you is just to show off your photos. And there are so many other ways to do that. There's Flickr, there's 500px, there's Shootproof, there is Facebook pages. You can have a Facebook page of just your photos. So therefore, why would you pay to have the exact same experience, right? And on Facebook, everybody's already on Facebook with not Instagram. Oh yeah, Instagram's another place where you can show off your photos, of course. When it comes to having a website, you got to pay for hosting, you got to pay for the domain name, you got to pay for, upkeep if you're doing any of that stuff. So you really have to ask yourself if that is worth it. And if it's not, because you're not making any money off of photography, because it's purely a hobby, then don't do it. Then don't have a website. There's no need for it. But I would say that if ever in the future you think, ooh, maybe I will turn this into a profession, then, if there's even that, the teeniest tiny of thought in your head, go ahead and get that website. Get that now, because the internet is not going anywhere. So having a website is going to ensure that you are going to be ready when the moment hits, right? One of the big factors in Google when it comes to where they're going to rank you and where to put you is how long you've had a website, how often you update your website. Because, if somebody searches for, Orlando, Florida family photographer, even though you may be the most experienced person in Orlando, Florida, taking family photos, they're not going to show your website if you haven't updated it in 2 years, or even if it doesn't say on your website Orlando, Florida family photographer, right? Because you're making these simple mistakes when it comes to having a website. They're going to show people who are current and are relevant and are updating their content. And you're going to have that if you start posting your photos now, even if it's just a hobby. So, I guess that kind of brings up another question: is this just a hobby, that makes you money on the side, Or is it just a hobby like, you know what, I literally just go out, I just shoot pictures of nature because it's beautiful, or birds, or animals, or street photography.
Or cars.
Or cars. Yeah, there you go.
Planes.
Planes, that too. And you just go out and you do that with no intention of selling them or showing off your photos or anything, then no, you don't. But if there's any sort of monetary aspect to your photos, yeah, I would say get a website. But for most people, I mean, if you're comfortable at your 9-to-5 job and you're happy with the benefits that they provide and insurance and stuff like that, and you don't want to go full-time in photography, for most of those people, a Facebook page is going to be more than enough for you, or even just your personal page at that point. So do whatever feels right to you. Do you think that's a fair answer, Paul?
Yeah, if you have any inkling of it going to a business, I would start it. But if you know this is just going to be a straight hobby, then I would just, unless you like making websites.
Right. And this is not a promotion by any means, but I use Squarespace, and I enjoy Squarespace to a degree. I think that now I'm at this point to where I should probably be switching away from Squarespace because their blogging aspect is kind of garbage when it comes to photography.
Would you say rudimentary?
No, I would just say that it wasn't thought out very well. And there's more limitations than there should be. But if it is just a hobby, Squarespace, or even if it's not just a hobby and you're making money off of it, I think that Squarespace is a super great and easy to use web platform that I would recommend to everybody just starting out.
What about GoDaddy? I don't hear you pushing Danica Patrick's GoDaddy.
GoDaddy is just for your domain name, so I use GoDaddy too, but that's where I buy my rhatfieldphotography.com. But
that's it.
That's it. That's just where you buy the URL. Mm-hmm.
So they just buy URLs and then resell them.
No, they don't even buy them. They're just a third party.
They're a broker.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Guys, I hope that you liked today's question. I hope that it brought you value and some sort of actionable tip that you're going to be able to implement and put into your photography journey to advance you to wherever you want to be, whether it's just a hobbyist or if you really want to take your photography professional and open up some sort of studio or business to do so. I hope that you got at least one piece of information out of today's episode. And again, if you did, please give us a review in iTunes. That's all that I ask for. I ask for nothing out of you, out of this podcast. These podcasts take a lot of time to create, and I'm so happy to do so if you are going to take these tips and implement them to grow yourself, to grow your photography. So the only thing that I ask of you is if you could just please leave us a rating and review in iTunes or whatever podcast player or app you are listening to us on right now. Again, guys, if you have any photography questions or about anything photography related, feel free to send us an email at beginnerphotographypodcast@gmail.com. Reach out to us on Facebook, facebook.com/beginner photography podcast, or find us on Instagram, where you'll be able to keep up with us and all of our guests that we have on the podcast as well. And that is Instagram username Beginner Photo Podcast. That's all that I got for today. I hope that you guys get out there, shoot something fun, enjoy. I love you guys, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.